LG just launched their first two watches with Android Wear 2.0. The larger of the two, called the LG Watch Sport, seems to be aimed at the more active user, in case you couldn't tell by the name. And I've had it for a little bit now, so I think we're ready to do a review. Android Wear 2.0 is a big part of the new features of this watch, but it's already been announced that older Android Wear watches are going to get this new 2.0 update and therefore also get those features. So I'm going to mention some of my favorite Android Wear 2.0 features that I liked while using this watch because I think it's still important, but just keep in mind that a lot of these features I'm talking about and other ones as well will be coming to older watches. So that means that you shouldn't really use them as a differentiator for why you should buy this particular watch. Instead, focus on other things like the hardware, etc. The entire UI, first off, has changed for the better. From swappable, customizable watch faces that you can actually put different information on the watch face just as you need it, even shortcuts to apps, etc. You can then swipe quickly between them to get to other watch faces with other customized things you've done, depending on the scenario you need at that moment. Also, just better menus, just a more intuitive design overall. My favorite features in Android Wear 2.0 so far are notifications being more robust and having a lot more actions that you can take with them based on what app is sending them, and having a keyboard on the watch. I know that that sounds ridiculous, but in practice, it's actually kind of useful. You can now respond to texts, emails, etc. by swiping on a tiny keyboard that is actually pretty accurate. You can also type on it, but that is actually ridiculous. I like it because for short messages at least, I can respond without having to use voice to text and making whatever the conversation is about public to everyone around me. Also, it's fast enough that I don't feel the need to take out my phone to type that short message instead. Lastly, there is something super interesting about Android Wear 2.0, and that's that it comes with its own standalone app store. Essentially what that means is that instead of the apps being companion apps to their phone counterparts, they are actually their own self-contained apps on the watch. This allows you to limit the number of apps on the watch since you don't have to install everything that is on the phone, and developers can make apps that are specific to the watch stand out better in the watch-only store as opposed to mixed in with a plethora of regular phone apps in the Play Store. Additionally, this means that if you don't have an Android phone, for example, you can download these apps on the watch and they work independently. That means, for example, if you had an iPhone, you could still get all of these apps from this Watch Play Store. In addition to the new features found in Wear 2.0, it of course has all the features you are used to from 1.0, like fitness tracking, GPS, music controls, etc. Now, if you remember the tragically recalled a week after its launch LG Watch Urbane LTE 2nd edition, the LG Watch Sport seems a bit like it could have been the Urbane 3rd edition. The device has the exact same POLED 1.38-inch 480 by 480 pixel screen, almost exactly the same measurements, the same 4 gigs of internal storage, and even similar button placement. Besides where it's the same, it's also been upgraded in certain areas as well. First up, it looks a lot nicer, and despite its bulk, is a clean-looking watch. The stainless steel casing is smoothed out for a more sporty look in my opinion, and the bands are also much better looking. They are, however, a little rigid and non-replaceable compared to other Android Wear watches. The reason for this, though, is that they actually house the needed antennas for LTE, apparently, just like the Urbane did, so that's your trade-off. One other important hardware difference is the addition of a rotating crown dial that can be used to scroll through menus as well as clicked to go home or open the app drawer. I have to admit that I actually got used to it pretty quick and started to like this new input method for Android Wear. On either side of the crown is 2 customizable buttons that can be changed to launch different actions, but by default start a workout in Google Fit and open Android Pay. Which brings us to the other reason this phone is larger than most: it has NFC. This means that you can open Android Pay on the watch and hold the face to a terminal to use that to pay where Android Pay is accepted. The fact that it has LTE gives it some interesting features as well. If you're willing to pay the $10 a month to your carrier, at the moment it's AT&T or Verizon, you'll get access to data on the watch without needing to access that data through the Bluetooth from your phone. So that means that you could technically leave your phone at home and still be able to access emails, the apps, etc. But in addition to that, They'll also give your watch essentially its own phone number, which you don't need to give out. What happens is your phone's phone number is then forwarded to that number. Now this means that if you go for a run, for example, and do leave the phone at home, you will still get all of your phone calls on the watch that were made to your original phone number, as well as your text messages. Now I personally don't see myself needing this feature very often. I mean, let's be real, like how often do I not have my phone within arm's reach? Like even when I'm sleeping, it's right there. But I do see how maybe somebody that wanted to run out really quick and go for a quick run and wanted to not have to carry their phone in a pocket where it might fall out or strapped to their arm like some people do, that maybe it would be beneficial to you. Speaking of the run you might go on with the watch, it also has the ability to have music downloaded to that 4 gigs of internal storage it has through the Google Play Music app. You simply download the music app on your watch, and any music that you've added to your library, either by purchasing from the Play Music store or you've uploaded to Play Music from your own collection, is available in the app for download. Then you can pair a Bluetooth headset to the watch itself and use it to play music, or if so inclined, you can play the music directly on the watch's speaker. One of the new features of Android Wear 2.0 that was mentioned on Google's blog, though, was the ability to stream music, which you can do through the Play Music app or through Spotify, Pandora, etc. Unfortunately, though, I haven't had any luck getting it to work on Spotify or Pandora or any other apps for that matter besides streaming music from the Play Music app. But since Play Music just seemed to have appeared in the Wear App Store a few days after I'd already been using the watch, wondering where it was, I assume it might be waiting for a new update or those apps need to update before streaming music works from them as well. The LG Watch Sport also happens to be IP68 certified, which means it can handle being dunked down to 1.5 meters of water for a maximum of 30 minutes. While this isn't Apple Watch swimming commercial territory, it does mean it'll handle sweat, rain, snow, an accidental dip in liquid, etc., and definitely helps with the concept of it being meant to be used for sports. The battery life isn't amazing, which is probably due to the smaller battery than the Watch Urbane and the sheer power needed to run LTE, but it did last me from waking up to going to sleep, and for any gadget that I use, that's sort of my main requirement. Personally, I prefer a smartwatch that looks like a real watch. I love the added functionality that a smartwatch brings over a watch, but I still would like to temper that slightly with the aesthetic of it looking like any other watch that someone would come across. So the LG Watch Sport is a little too bulky for me and looks too much like a smartwatch, in my opinion. But if you do want LTE, a feature that I mentioned I probably wouldn't use that often, and it's part of the reason why it's so bulky. But if you want that, then you kind of don't have too many options, if we're honest. And a lot of those other options are gonna use the Tizen OS as opposed to Android. And in my opinion, I would never use Tizen over Android, like ever. There guys, a quick, albeit not that quick, LG Watch Sport review. Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of the watch itself and of this review. Always like to hear from you guys. And if you did like this video, please thumbs up it or share it. It is greatly appreciated. And if you want more videos like this, please check out the channel. There is a link floating somewhere nearby. And if you like what you see there, please subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.